This road to WrestleMania has been insane. I mean, we literally just had John Cena break up with all of us on live TV. And with as crazy as this road to WrestleMania has been, it's been leading to a lot of online discussions and debates about a whole host of different WWE related topics. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at a bunch of these hot button topics that have people arguing all over the world. Because today we're doing This or That, the series where I give you 15 different WWE related scenarios to vote on, and we see whether I agree or disagree with the votes of the community. By the way, if you are looking for my review of Monday Night Raw, where I discuss John Cena's insanely good promo where he broke up with all of us, it's already up and available on the Patreon, patreon.com/SantiZap. Over there, we upload so much more extra content like Raw reviews and SmackDown reviews and a bunch of watch-alongs that we can never upload here because we actually use footage to show you what it is that we're talking about, so it would just get blocked here on YouTube. So go check it out. Patreon.com/SantiZap. Link in the description, link in the pinned comment. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I know that you're going to fall in love with his YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. All right, folks, let's see how you guys voted. What was the better heel turn, John Cena or Roman Reigns? So over 4,000 of you voted on this poll, and 80% of you decided that John Cena's heel turn was the better one. And I do wonder how much of this is recency bias or if John Cena's heel turn was really that much better than Roman Reigns. I think for my answer, it kind of depends on what the context and the parameters of the question are. Are we talking about what was the better singular moment when they were revealed to be a heel? If that's the case, then I think the answer is easily John Cena. There was just so much more to it. The lead up segment with whether or not Cody Rhodes was going to sell his soul, the fact that The Rock and Travis Scott are out there, and the fact that this is a shock after 20 years of being the biggest good guy that the company has ever seen. I think the answer there is John Cena. Now, if you want to make the argument about what was the more impactful heel turn, I think by default you have to go with Roman Reigns because we haven't really seen the full impact of John Cena's heel turn yet. Meanwhile, Roman Reigns' heel turn basically defined an entire generation of professional wrestling with his run as the tribal chief. I will also say that the most necessary heel turn here was Roman Reigns. Cena turning heels was never something that was necessary. It's awesome and I'm here for the ride, but Roman Reigns turning heel basically salvaged his career because just so many people were just not behind the big dog character, and I just don't think that the big dog was going to work in the pandemic era. So that shift to the tribal chief was so necessary and revived Roman Reigns' career, and that's crazy to say considering he was already the top babyface in the company. But yeah, I'm going to say the answer is John Cena having the better heel turn. Who should John Cena be retired by, CM Punk or Randy Orton? So I actually thought that this poll was going to be a little bit closer. I had a feeling that Randy Orton was going to win, and he does win with 74.4% of the votes. I just thought that based on how things ended at Elimination Chamber, with John Cena taking advantage of the fact that CM Punk was attacked by Seth Rollins, the scathing promo, the Monday Night Raw after Elimination Chamber from CM Punk to both The Rock and John Cena, and the full circle storyline of CM Punk being this anti-authority figure going up against The Rock and a John Cena that sold his soul might make for a really interesting story. Actually, it might make for an interesting story. It definitely would be a really interesting story that I think everybody would love to see. However, in terms of who should retire John Cena, the answer, and the only answer in my opinion, is what the majority went with: Randy Orton. Randy Orton just has too much history and too much legacy with John Cena that it would just be honestly a bit of a disservice if it's anybody else and it's not Randy Orton. So I'm going to agree with the majority here. I would also say that Randy Orton out of these two should be the one retiring John Cena. What should John Cena be when he retires, a heel or a babyface? So emphatically, nearly 90% of you guys went with he should be a babyface, and I'm inclined to agree. It would honestly feel gross, dirty, and disgusting to have John Cena end his WWE career as a heel. I think that we're all sort of hoping that at some point or another he has his come to Jesus moment where he gets to come back to the good side and fight for the good guys once again. And we know that when that moment hopefully inevitably happens, that the pop is going to be absolutely insane. I said this before, that this is the Majin Vegeta arc if you're a Dragon Ball Z fan, and eventually, even though Vegeta becomes this evil version of himself and allows himself to be controlled by Babidi, eventually at the end of the arc, he has his full circle moment where he becomes a giant second hero once again, and I'm hoping that's what we get from John Cena ultimately. But I'm here for this heel run, and I hope it lasts for a while. I hope that this isn't just a couple of months of being heel. I wouldn't be surprised, and I wouldn't mind if John Cena was a heel basically right through to the very end of his retirement tour, where at the very end he finally sees the light and comes back to be the hero that we all know and love. But yeah, there's no world where I want to see John Cena retire as a heel. I need to see this man be the bastion of hustle, loyalty, respect once again. What deserves to main event night one of WrestleMania more? Jey Uso versus Gunther or Io versus Bianca versus Rhea? So with almost 83% of the votes, the winner here was Io versus Bianca versus Rhea, and that is crazy that we live in a world where the women's elimination chamber winner just has more star power and far more main event aura going into WrestleMania than the men's Royal Rumble winner, a male Royal Rumble winner that, by the way, won the most stacked Royal Rumble of all time. I say it in air quotes, but it truly was the most stacked men's Rumble of all time. It's just WWE has done an incredibly piss poor job of building Jey Uso versus Gunther. They've done a bad job of making this feel like a main event. Frankly, it's no surprise that it's feeling this way, considering you have the champion feuding with Alpha Academy and the Royal Rumble winner feuding with A-Town Down Under. That is wild. Meanwhile, the women, Io, Bianca, and Rhea are cooking. In terms from a storytelling perspective, even though they've had significantly less time to develop their story going into WrestleMania than Jey and Gunther, to me, it is a much better storyline, and in my opinion, just has the bigger star power than compared to Jey Uso versus Gunther. You have the two most popular women in the WWE today in Bianca Belair and Rhea, and Io Sky, a perennial fan favorite that is continuing to get more and more popular with the crowd. They've done a much better job at building towards this women's triple threat that isn't even confirmed as of the making of this video, by the way, but they've just done a better job at telling a story, at making me believe that that's more main event worthy. I'll say that if you force me to pick between these two as to what should close night one, I would tell you Io, Bianca versus Rhea. So I agree with the community here. What do you think of European crowds? Are they amazing or annoying? So based on my hot takes comments, I thought that this was going to be a closer poll because we have amazing winning with nearly 100% of the votes. And I think that that is the correct answer. But if you go into the comments of my YouTube videos, the hot takes, I see a lot of people complaining about the crowds ruining promos, that they're annoying, that they don't know when to shut up. But clearly, I'm seeing that that's just a vocal minority because the majority of people clearly love these European crowds, and I do too. In fact, I think it's brilliant to do this road to WrestleMania in Europe because it allows the WWE to get things over that we're struggling to get over in North America. Like, for example, Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre can get really over in Europe. They tried even getting B-Fab over in Europe. They're trying with Charlotte and Tiffany getting that over. So the things that need to get over on this road to WrestleMania can get over much easier in Europe. For example, an Io Sky that desperately needs that big boost in popularity going into her match against the two most popular women on the entire roster. The European crowd is making Io Sky feel on that level of overall popularity. So I think it's really important to have this road to WrestleMania in Europe, and I love the crowds. I love the chanting. I love everything that they do in terms of creating this football Champions League environment. I love it. I can't get enough of it personally. Fellas, I love going to wrestling shows, and if you've ever been in a packed arena full of other wrestling fans, you'll know that a lot of them, how do I put this kindly, don't smell very good. And I've always been really careful to take care of my personal hygiene when I go to wrestling shows to make sure that I don't join the statistic of stinky wrestling fans. And now it's much easier to do so thanks to today's sponsor, Mando. Mando works so well because it doesn't cover up odor after the fact with heavy fragrances like certain other deodorants do. Instead, it stops the odor at the source by blocking the bacteria on your skin from eating your sweat, which is the actual cause of BO. What does this mean? It means that Mando is clinically proven to control odor for up to 72 hours. Mando deodorant was my go-to deodorant for a SummerSlam weekend, a weekend that I spent walking all over Cleveland, meeting viewers and jumping and screaming for hours in a packed stadium with over 50,000 people. And I may have walked out of SummerSlam incredibly tired. I may have walked out sick with the flu, but damn it, I smelled amazing from beginning to end and beyond. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick of deodorant, cream tube deodorant, and 2 free products of your choice, like the mini body wash or the deodorant wipes. You also get free shipping. Luckily, I have a discount code to help you get hooked on my favorite smelling whole body deodorant on the market. New customers will get $5 off the starter pack with my exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off of your starter pack. Just make sure that you use code Santi at shopmando.com. Again, that is code Santi at shopmando.com. Thank you very much to Mando for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back into it. Is John Cena's heel turn justified? Yes or no? So 82% of the people say that John Cena's heel turn is yes, justified. So here's the thing. Is it justified based on the things that he said in the promo, talking about the 20 years of abuse, the fact that no matter what he did, the good things that he did, the blood, sweat, and tears that he poured, that there were still so many people in the WWE universe that would use and abuse him and make him feel terrible and bully him. And even the fans that did support him never really gave anything back to John Cena. They just took. Is that a justifiable reason for somebody like a John Cena to have a crash out 20 years later? I think so. It's a very human reason and it makes sense. But that doesn't fully explain the aspect of The Rock and why he attacked Cody Rhodes specifically and why he aligned himself with this new faction. If he just were to lash out at the fans, that's one thing, but he's lashed out at Cody Rhodes and aligned himself with The Rock, and we don't know why he's done that yet. So I would say that is John Cena justified at being angry and hating the fans? Oh my God, absolutely. If you've been watching WWE as long as I have and following John Cena's career as closely as I have, you'll see so many instances where fans were just so horrible to John Cena. And I think what we're getting is a John Cena that's now able to speak his mind about how he feels about the fans after 20 years of being shackled, being the corporate Mickey Mouse who just has to smile and wave regardless of what the fan sentiment was towards him. But now that he's not that, now that he's removed himself from WWE, now that WWE has another one of those in Cody Rhodes, now we can explore this story of how John Cena feels about the fans specifically. But we still need to explore why he decided to attack Cody Rhodes and align himself with The Rock. Maybe that might not be justified, but him hating the fans, I think it is. Who is the better 2025 Royal Rumble winner, Jey Uso or Charlotte? So 63% of the people are saying Jey Uso, and honestly, I'm at the point where I actually disagree with the majority. I'm gonna go with Charlotte Flair. In the moment, I think that going with Jey Uso as the winner was definitely a lot more intriguing. Charlotte was such a boring, safe choice. Charlotte doesn't need to win the Royal Rumble. Meanwhile, giving the Royal Rumble victory to a Jey Uso was so out of this world, so out of left field that you couldn't help but just sort of want to see what they're going to do with it. Unfortunately, we've now had a month and a half of seeing what they've done with it, and the answer is that for both of them, the answer is not very much. But I believe that they've done a better job with Charlotte Flair as the Royal Rumble winner with Jey Uso, because my man Jey Uso has been done so dirty as the Royal Rumble winner. So based on the evidence that we have now of a month and a half of build of both of them as Royal Rumble winners, I'm shockingly actually going to side with Charlotte being the better Royal Rumble winner over Jey Uso. Who has been more disappointing in 2025? Finn Balor or Shinsuke Nakamura? So this was really tight. 55% of the votes went to Shinsuke Nakamura, and I feel like you could just toss a coin because both of these guys have just had an absolutely miserable year so far. I mean, at this point, Finn Balor is just referred more by Pin Balor by the internet wrestling community than his actual name, because his job is just to go out there and make other people look good and take pins. Meanwhile, so many fans want to see Finn Balor rise and get the moment, get the push. But at this point, if you're waiting for the Finn Balor push, brother, you might as well just wait for your dad to come back with the milk, because that's probably going to come back faster. Nakamura's, more than anything, is just heartbreaking because they gave Nakamura the red carpet. At least it looked that way, with him winning the United States Championship under a new gimmick, with a new look, with a new presentation, with a new entrance theme, all stuff that fans kind of universally loved. I was on board with it. But once they finally gave him the title, they decided to put no effort into Shinsuke Nakamura. I know that there was some personal stuff going on with Shinsuke Nakamura, but even before all of that stuff, there was clearly very little intent to get this Nakamura over and making him look strong as a champion. And unfortunately, I got to go with Nakamura being the correct answer here because there just seems to be a lot more lost potential with what they invested in Nakamura, with changing everything around, but then the execution was just atrocious. So I'm going to go with Shinsuke. Who inducts Randy Orton into the WWE Hall of Fame? John Cena or Triple H? Yeah, with Randy Orton's career starting to sunset here, we're starting to see this discussion a lot, and we've heard that Randy Orton would like John Cena to be the one to do it, but maybe the answer here is Triple H in terms of the story and legacy that he has with Randy Orton. I'm actually going to go with Triple H. I know that John Cena and Randy Orton have this storied rivalry and career, but in my opinion, the way that Triple H's career intertwines with Randy Orton is a lot more meaningful, with their time in Evolution, with their time as the Authority, with how long Triple H has been Randy Orton's mentor and boss. I'm going to go with Triple H being the correct choice here. Who is the better general manager, Nick Aldis or Adam Pearce? So 73% of people went with Nick Aldis being the better general manager, and I just have to disagree. Listen, are things hectic on Monday Night Raw? Absolutely. To be fair, they're less hectic than they were over the summer, where it seemed like there was a giant brawl every 5 minutes on Monday Night Raw. But at the very least, Adam Pearce comes with a plan. Go watch any episode of Friday Night SmackDown, and it's clear and apparent that Nick Aldis comes in with no plan whatsoever. The show will start with a brawl, and he will say, looks like we just got ourselves a main event. Okay, Nick, what was the plan if that brawl never happened? Did you literally come to this show without a planned main event? And that happens literally every episode of Friday Night SmackDown. He'll make like 4 or 5 matches on the fly, which leads me to believe that this dude does no preparation at all in terms of making a good cohesive show. So I'm going to go with Adam Pearce because at the very least he comes prepared. Who is the better inaugural women's mid-card champion, Lyra Valkyria or Chelsea Green? So 65% of you went with Chelsea Green, and honestly for me it's a toss-up. Chelsea Green has not been booked the best as a champion, and it doesn't help the fact that she's just been sort of shoehorned to only feuding with Michin on Friday Night SmackDown, but at the very least they're slowly adding more dimensions to the character. They're bringing in an entire faction with the Secret Hervis, adding Piper Niven and now Alba Fire. Meanwhile, Lyra Valkyria has had a bit of a different run where she's just sort of been having good matches, but there hasn't really been much in the way of storylines or any sort of like additional character development for Lyra Valkyria. So I gotta agree. I'm gonna say that the answer here is Chelsea Green, and I'm gonna go with the majority. Who is the most misused in 2025? Drew McIntyre or Liv Morgan? So Drew McIntyre kind of swept this at nearly 77% of the votes, and the answer is both of them have been severely misused, but I'm actually gonna disagree here. I'm gonna go with Liv Morgan as the correct answer. Look, at least Drew McIntyre has a Mania match. At least he has a Mania program going on with Damian Priest. Liv Morgan, at this moment, 4 weeks away from WrestleMania, has literally no path to WrestleMania whatsoever. She's been given the tag team championships. That's great. However, in a division that doesn't exist, the women's tag team division on the main roster is literally just the champions, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. There's literally nobody else for them to feud with in this road to WrestleMania. So this has just been a prop that they've been holding. She was a champion at the start of the year, but lost it to Rhea Ripley, and now she's just sort of directionless, unfortunately. And I think that that is such a shame. She had a great showing in the Elimination Chamber, great showing in the Royal Rumble, but it seems like WWE doesn't actually want to invest into something heavy in terms of a WrestleMania feud for Liv Morgan. And at the very least, Drew McIntyre has that going for him. So I'm going to go with Liv Morgan being the most misused in 2025. What Cody Rhodes feud was better, AJ Styles or Kevin Owens? I actually weirdly thought that this was going to be closer, but upon inspection, it's definitely not. Nearly 90% of people went with Kevin Owens, and the answer is definitely Kevin Owens. I do think that these are Cody Rhodes' best feuds since he's been a champion so far, but the Kevin Owens trilogy is just so good. The match at Bash in Berlin, and then the fantastic match at Saturday Night's Main Event, and the hellacious ladder match that they had. That's, in my opinion, maybe the match of the year right now at the Royal Rumble. Yeah, AJ Styles' matches were great with the I Quit match, and then of course the legendary match at Backlash. But in terms of storyline, I'm gonna say that Kevin Owens is the way to go. I agree with the majority here. Who is the best available WrestleMania match for Jacob Fatu? Solo Sikoa or Braun Strowman? So 82% of the people went with Solo Sikoa, and I think for me the answer is it depends. Do you want the best story for Jacob Fatu? If the best story is what you want, then I think the answer is Solo Sikoa. If you want the best match, I think it's probably some sort of like a no holds barred match with Braun Strowman. I would be more interested in seeing a match between Jacob Fatu and Braun Strowman with like no rules than I am seeing anything between Solo and Jacob Fatu. I'm gonna be honest. Solo Sikoa matches don't particularly tickle my fancy, even if it is against the awesome Jacob Fatu. So I think I would rather Braun Strowman, if I'm being honest with you. What is more exciting, Aleister Black returning or Rey Fenix debuting? So 63% of the people went with Aleister Black returning, and I'm going to be contrarian here. I'm going to say Rey Fenix returning. I'm excited for both of these things, but at least one of them is a known commodity in the WWE. I know what Aleister Black in WWE looks like, but I have no idea what Rey Fenix in the WWE looks like. How are they going to treat him? Is he going to have the same name? Because it could create some confusion with Rey Mysterio. What kind of wrestler is he going to be? Is he going to be a single star? Is he going to be a tag team wrestler like he was for the most part in AEW? There's just a lot of question marks regarding Rey Fenix. And now the fact that he's likely going to SmackDown, meanwhile Penta is on Monday Night Raw, does create that confusion as to what do you do with that one half of the Lucha Brothers. So I'm going to say I'm a bit more excited to see Rey Fenix debuting, but I'm super excited for both of these scenarios. All right, folks, that's it for today's video. I like doing these every once in a while, so make sure that you follow me on X if you want to be part of these next time. But that's it. I'm done. Goodbye. Get out of here.